All right.
Hello, SPN family. I'm Steph with Creation, and welcome to our super celebration of virtual experiences featuring the cast of Supernatural. Just a reminder that the top tipper wins a 5-minute one-on-one video meet and greet with Lisa right after this panel. So make sure your top supporter information is updated with your current email address. To do that, find that under the Stage It screen. You'll see where it says Top Supporter Rewards. Scroll to that link that says Complete Your Top Supporter Information. If you'd like to tip, click the green tip button on the bottom left-hand corner of your Stage It screen. All right, first up today is someone who is not only a talented actress and amazing singer, she's extremely motivating and always inspiring us to be ourselves. Please welcome Lisa Berry.
Hi, everyone. I hope you guys are having a magnificent day. Whew, let's all take a breath together. So you guys have some questions that I am going to answer. So the first one is, how was your last day of shooting? Long, but so amazing. So amazing. It was I was actually around to be able to watch the scene with Dean and Cass, and that was everything. Because when I read the script, I was in tears and thought, this is just powerful and transcends it being entertainment. It was a message that I'm kind of like, did you write that for me? Or it's amazing how somehow it can always relate to whatever's happening in my life. And so I thought it was really, really beautiful, and sending lots of love right back. And then I have another question. What has been your favorite part about being on Supernatural? The friendships. The friendships. I have met some incredible people who have become very special and important to me in my life, and I do not take their friendship for granted, and I'm truly grateful for their presence in my life. That would have to be the best thing that has come from, my vision board dream coming true. I didn't know that I was also going to get to have some amazing friendships as well. So how much of a confidence booster is it to get to play a badass like Billie? A lot. Billie has made me stronger. She's made me more grounded, because one thing I always said when I first got cast was it was very easy to decipher between myself and Billie, because Lisa was like, oh my God, you're like Sam and Dean. Oh my God, it's so amazing. I can't wait. You know what I mean? It's so good. Am I talking really high? And Billie was like, hi. So she just didn't care. And I was like, wow. So it was really easy for me to step into her shoes, because I knew when I was being me and I knew when I was being her. And getting to play her for so long really let that settle and descend within me, and basically baked in my psyche, where I just naturally became somebody who was able to be that grounded in my own life. And so whenever I need it, I just call on it, which is pretty cool. Hashtag I love acting. How did you react when you found out you were going to play Death? I screamed. Now, first off, I was given a heads up by Kim Rhodes. She was like, oh my God, I can't believe you're going to be Death. It's so amazing. And I was like, I am? Because I didn't know any of this. And it was about 2 days later that my manager actually told me, so they have this new rendition of your character. And I was like, oh, so it is true. Because she got the 411 because she was in the office when they were talking about it. And they said, yeah, I think Lisa can actually do this part. I think she can take it to the next level. And I was like, okay. And so I felt an immense responsibility to give it everything I've got, because I really appreciated the old Death, and just wanted to do it service. And I am such a fan of the show that I wanted to make sure that I was really bringing the heat, and was really somebody the boys could bounce off of as a threat and it be believable. So that's pretty cool. I heard that you recently gave birth. I did. And I wanted to ask you how you feel and what do you feel about that? I feel really great. I was really lucky to have had a wonderful pregnancy and a beautiful birth and a healthy baby. And that was all that I really wanted. And I was pretty secretive about my pregnancy to begin with because I was just so mindful of my energy and what I wanted to be able to put out into the world. So I took myself off of social media for a good 6 months, until I knew that everything was a-okay and we were going to have a healthy baby. So that was wonderful. But really, being a meditation coach really helped with the process of it all because I did not have any drugs. I had a completely natural birth, and it was only 5 hours, which people are like, say what? And it's my first and only. There will only be one, but I say my first. Um, and people were just so surprised because they're like, how, what are you talking about? And I was like, I really did just breathe through it. And I have so many friends who are now having kids, and I was like, where you're going to get so much unsolicited advice, but the only advice that I like to share with people is to remember to breathe and get enough air as if your head has come above water, because it's so tempting to just breathe as if you're still underwater and not actually get a breath of air. So it requires deep, deep breathing. And because I was so well versed in that, it was something I was able to really tap into and connect with. So I feel great. And getting back into the swing of things, I'm now currently doing a consistency training. It's my own training. I just call it my consistency training because it's not about losing weight. It's not about gaining muscle or looking better or different or whatever. It's really about just building up the mental stamina to be able to get back into the rhythm that I was used to having before I had the baby, which was working out every day and meditating on such a regular basis, even though my schedule is so upside down, basically. So there's that. But thank you for asking. He is the light of my life. And do you still continue with your music? You know what? I actually just started doing a whole, singing different versions of songs to my kid. I'm always just like, you are my sunshine. And he's just like, I love it. And so he makes me sing him lots and lots of songs. So that's how I'm getting my singing in. But I just had a jam session with my husband and my little guy just 2 minutes ago before I came on here, where we were just singing, talking about my girl. It was really cool. So yeah, I do love to sing. I miss it. I really do miss getting to sing with you guys, which is so wild because I never thought I'd ever be the person who said, I miss singing for people. Because Supernatural is the reason I'm actually even singing, because that was not going to happen on its own volition. So that is that. But yes, I do continue to sing, but more for fun. What is your favorite episode that you were not in? And what is your favorite line from the show? I can't remember what episode it was, but it was a scene where Sam was talking to Dean, and it was all about, so you mean to tell me we're in this mess because we're family? And just with what was going on in my life and what I was going through with my family, I was just like, whoa. So if anybody knows what episode that was, hook me up. I can see it. They were outside sitting on the car, but that actually kind of sounds like a lot of episodes. But sitting on the car, so I was like, baby's in a lot of their heart-to-heart moments. But yeah, it was the episode, and then of course I'm losing my, what's it called again? The French Mistake, I think it was called, is the other one. And the Scooby-Doo, because I just thought that was fun. And what is my favorite line from the show? It's a tough one. So many. I'll have to get back to you on that one. But my favorite line is "Sup" or "Hey Dean." Those are my favorites to say. And if you had Billie's powers for a day, what would you do? What wouldn't I do? It's really the question. I would bring my, and this is not what Billie's allowed to do, but I would bring my grandmother back, Alzheimer's free, to be able to have a conversation with her. That's what I would do. And since your last episode was right before the lockdown, was the set vibe different? You know, the set vibe was not different. I think I was different because I was like, yo, they be talking about this corona thing. Should we really have should we are we still doing this? I was actually more nervous just because at the beginning of the year I was so sick that I was like, something's up. And I'd never been that sick in my life before. And people were just like, oh, well, you're pregnant, so you know, your immune system. And I was like, no, I've never been this sick. And I rarely get sick to begin with. So I was just like, no, something's different. Like the city feels sick. And so I quarantined myself. I just naturally was like, I'm not going outside. I'm keeping my distance. Like I did all of that before they were telling us to do any of that stuff because I just didn't feel like getting sick again. So I was kind of a little hyper sensitive to it. And, you know, traveling on a plane and being pregnant, I was just like, I just don't want to be sick anymore. So the vibe on set wasn't different, but by the time I was leaving is when it was really all starting to come because I finished filming on March 7th. And then I got home on the 8th, and then the lockdown happened on like the 13th. And so I was like, whoosh. So I feel pretty lucky actually. If you could reap anyone in history, who would it be and why? Colonizers, because they stole Black people's identity. And that would be what I would stop in history. Colonizers. That's what I would have done. It's probably like Christopher Columbus. Then are you personally or on Sam and Dean's side or understand the characters that while you agree with her actions? No, I'm a Sam and Dean all the way. Like Billie is the one who is not Sam and Dean. But I personally, Lisa Berry, 100%. I'm all Dean, all Sam, all day because I really do believe in what they put out into the world. And so it's important. And I think we always need to know in our hearts that hope can win, just like it did this weekend. Anywho, not to get political, but I think they always make me feel like, you know, I'm watching an epic story unfold. And I always hope that, you know, even though all odds are not in their favor, that they will win. So I personally am on their side. As a fan of the show, how are you feeling now that it's ending? Pretty sad, but at the same time, um, it's had a good run. It's had a really, really, really good run. I think they could have gone on a lot longer, obviously, just because themes like that never get old, in my opinion. But I think enjoy it rather than being sad about it right now, because the beauty of it as an actor, I personally have done a lot of plays, really powerful, poignant plays that break my heart when they're done. Because if you weren't one of the 200 people in the audience, it'll never get seen again. And I think the power of TV, film, is that it lives on forever. So we never actually really have to say goodbye, which I think is wonderful. Because if we want Cass to be alive and well, we just go back to season 9. No spoilers, sorry. So how does it feel to be the only Black female recurring character in with a major storyline, and what that means to especially women female fans of color. I think it's amazing. It is not lost on me that there are not a lot of ethnic people on the show. And I feel very grateful to have been entrusted to play such a pivotal role on the show. And I think when people see it, they see themselves a little bit more. When I watch a show and I see someone who looks like me, I'm like, oh, and I just get really excited and I feel like I matter. So I hope that seeing me makes somebody feel like they matter a little more, because they do. And yeah, and especially my last episode, I had so many. I was watching it, being like, "Ooh, look at all the color up in here," and so I thought it was really cool. And if Jack becomes the new death, what's one thing you'd want him to know from your time on the job? Don't trust the boys. That's what I would say. And never leave your sight near them. I don't care how distracted you are with like your plans. Hold on to that, mother, like nobody's business. And cool, that'd be cool. Did you have something special to generate so much hate toward the boys? Did I have to generate something special? Yeah, because I don't hate them. But I didn't use hate as my fuel. I used being grounded. I used having a conviction in my moral compass on what I thought was right, because I didn't want it to be general. I wanted Billie to be very specific about her drive, and her drive was to stay authentic to balance and order and keeping the rules in play, because she knows their value and their worth, and I wanted to have integrity around that. Did the writers give you any idea of the large picture Billie said she saw as death? No, I still don't even know what the bigger picture is. That's the truth. I had to make it up every time. The first episode where I give Dean a book, I'm like, you want to tell me what's in it? Like, I literally looked at Jensen and I was like, so what's it say? He was like, I was like, I know, you know, fine. I'll watch and see for myself, but as an actor, you still have to make choices. And so I did. So I made my own choice of what it could possibly be. And it worked. It worked. It was kind of in line with what the writers were thinking of. Even from my very first episode, when I say a line where I say the old death, thought it was funny. And I was like, so could I be the new death? I mean, I'm just going to put it out there. I'm going to, I'll play it. I'll play it like that. And if you see it, we'll go with it. But if you don't, it's no biggie. And Phil Screechy, who was directing me on that episode, was just like, I like your read. And I was like, thanks, man. So that was cool. What is my favorite book right now? The Power of Now. It is high on my list of, I always go back to that book because I like to just be centered and remember to breathe. And I think his book is so powerful. Eckhart Tolle is so powerful because it really does allow us to just go a little deeper every time we read it. You read it the first time and you're like, oh, cool. You read it the second time, you're like, oh, cool. You read it the third time, and you're like, oh, cool. You read it the fourth time, and you're like, oh, cool. So there's just constantly so much depth to it that I find really powerful. So the power of now. And have you and Misha ever talked about meditation? I know he's very much into that too. Never. But I actually don't really get to see Misha that often because we haven't had a lot of scenes together. And if we did have a scene together, it was pretty quick. So there wasn't that much time. And when you're filming, it's done so disjointed and out of order that sometimes you could be like in the same episode and never see somebody. Just like, I never actually got to work with Rachel Miner, even though we're on the same side. So it's kind of one of those things where you're like, man, I wish we had a scene together, but really, you have to imagine the scenes that we had together. And believe me, I did. She's on my list of actors I want to work with so bad. And did you ever get a souvenir from set? I got my chair. At the back, you have your name. They have Supernatural and your names on it. So when you're on set, you get to. I don't think I had. Do I have it here? I don't have it here. It's in another room. But I got my chair, the back of my chair. So I have my name in Supernatural. So I really was on the show. And what was your favorite scene of despair? And what was the best part about being directed by Richard? Richard is so an actor's director. He's got great ideas. That was the best part. He's just filled with try it like this, try it like that, do this, and you're just like, oh, this is so amazing. And he's very playful and he's very fun, and he's just got great ideas, you know, where you kind of like walk away being like, I wish I thought of that when I came to work today. But he's like, if you thought of that, then what am I here for? And I was like, touche. I should just make sure I know my lines, which I do always. If you're an actor, always know your lines and be on time. And my favorite scene to film in Despair was in my library when the boys come back for me, and I'm like, so I guess this is the part where I say, hello, boys. Hello, boys. It was just such a full circle retribution because I finally get to go after Cass, who stabbed me in the back. And fun fact, that was an added line. It was not there before we started the scene. And then Richard was just like, I think it needs something when you're like, and I was like, how about something like that? Pretty collaborative. I'm not saying I wrote that line, but it was pretty collaborative. And we were like, yeah, I like that. And I was like, okay, let's do it. Since Billie didn't have a backstory, what would you want her story to be? Oh, there's a whole realm of stories in my head about Billie and how she's just, she could have her own show, as far as I'm concerned. She is literally like think of her life as if she was just constantly waiting in a line and finally her ticket got called. That's that was her backstory. And I always envisioned Billie as being a part of the show from the very beginning. You just couldn't see her. And I think part of what motivated me and giving her drive for the boys was she was always there every time Death had a scene, and she was like, guys, don't, guys, you know what he did the last time? Like, Death, are you really gonna, oh, you're gonna, well, they're gonna screw you over. Okay. And never quite understanding why he would always bend to their will. And then when I became Death and I got all of their knowledge, I was like, oh, I see. So my backstory was I was actually always there. And I had all the information that the original Death would have had. What was your audition process for Billie like? What backstory info as a Reaper did you get? So I didn't actually audition for the role of Billie. It was offered to me. This is one of those full circle, beautiful, serendipitous moments because I was auditioning for the show for about 10 years. If you don't know the story, here it comes. And I really wanted to be on the show. And every time I get an audition, I'd be like, maybe this is the one. And then it didn't happen. I was like, maybe this is the one. And then it didn't happen. I was like, maybe this is the one. And then it didn't happen. And then I moved to Vancouver for a year. And I got an audition where I was going to be in the room, and Jensen was going to be there, and Phil Screechia was going to be there, and Jim Michaels was in the room. And so I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to be in the room. And it was a day where Jensen was running late, and there was a lineup of girls. I was auditioning to be one of the witches in Rowena's coven was the role that I was auditioning for. And then when he was running behind, there was a line, like literally 2 rows. Just imagine 2 rows on opposite side of each wall on a thin hallway where you could, like, somebody could walk down an aisle. And he came in about 20 minutes late, and every girl was just like, oh my God, it's him. And I was like, keep your cool, keep your cool, keep your cool. And so I did. And when they called my name, I went into the room and I had done my audition and I was like, okay. And then Jensen was like, can you try it again, but more like this, and gave me a little bit of a note. And I was like, okay. And I did it. And he was like, okay, great. Thanks for coming in. And I was like, okay, great. Thank you. And then I immediately left and I called my friend. I was like, oh my God, I just worked with Jensen Ackles. And she was just like, what? And I was like, okay, technically I did not work with Jensen Ackles, but I worked with Jensen Ackles because he gave me direction. It was like being on set. It was all like a whole thing. So I was like, no, let's just count this as if I actually worked with him. And I literally celebrated. We went out and we celebrated as if I just worked with him and got the part, even though I did not. And then I got a message from my manager being like, you didn't get the part. And I was like, great, thank you for calling me with bad news. And she was like, but they have this character that they think you'd be good for. That they were like, oh, from what she brought in the room, she might be good for this other character. And so I was like, oh, yes. And at the time, I only knew that the character's name was Billie. And then after that, I was told she needs to sing something. Can she sing? Can she send us a little demo of her singing? So I was like, sure. And so I sent them a little demo of me singing. They're like, oh yeah, she can totally do what we need to do. And I was like, oh, okay. So I knew that my character's name was Billie. I knew that I had to sing a little something. And then I knew that I had one scene. And they're like, character might come back, but no guarantees. And I was like, oh, okay. And so when I saw what the song was, I was like, I know what this song is. And so I really wanted to do a good job. And I actually hired a music teacher to help me learn the song proper so that I could sing it. And they were like, you don't have to worry about learning the whole song. And I was like, oh, I'm going to learn the whole song. I don't know what you need. I don't know what you're going to do. I just want to be prepared. And so I learned the entire song and Phil was really happy with it. And then they put it over top of the trailer for the series launch. And I was like, and then singing became a part of my life again. So thank you, Supernatural family, for that. That was you guys. And how did it feel when Jensen gave you permission to sit in Baby? I love that Instagram post. Felt really good. Felt really good because I'd been on the show a couple of times already, and I'm already not the type of person to ask to take pictures, which is why I don't have a lot of behind the scene photos. Because I get really nervous and I never want people to think that I just want a picture with them to prove that, I know you and we don't actually even know each other really, but I would joke that every time I would be on set was my time was my convention because I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm standing here with you. But I'm saying all of this in my head. And so Jensen totally saw me eyeing Baby and he was like, you want to sit in there? Just sit in there. And I was like, okay, I don't think you understand. Like Baby's like a black girl's hair. You don't just touch it without permission. And he was like, please. And then I was like, thanks. And then I like it before he could even finish saying thanks, I was already in the car. So it was great. And would you do a concert on stage it? Hmm. 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 I don't know. I've never, I don't know. I don't play any instrument, so it would kind of be like an acoustic version, Left a good job in the city. And I think I need the drums and the bass and loud and swing. Ask them if they would do it. I would do it, and it'd be harder with a baby now. Did playing the role of death make you think about what life means? Of course. Oh, honey, boo boo bear. Yes, it does. Playing death makes you think about the realms that could possibly exist in our reality and how we're not alone in the universe and the worlds that we are aware of and not aware of. Like there's a whole galaxy outside of this world that we just call a galaxy, but it's a whole realm. And so of course it makes me think on a much broader scale and open my eyes to things that I probably wouldn't have thought of, because playing in the scene where you were in the scene where I'm telling Dean that he's, so you want to die, but I say keep living. I remember being filming that and just taking a moment to if you pay close attention, you see my eyes go somewhere. And in my mind's eye, I was going to another realm and coming back and going, oh, I see. Because I have that ability. And so I remember the director was kind of like, I'm not sure what you're doing there. And then Jensen was like, I know what she's doing there. It's great. I like it. Keep it. I was like, cool. Okay. As long as somebody knows what I'm doing. So hopefully other people caught that too. Getting any sleep. Love all the baby face on Instagram. Thank you. He is such a dream. I'm so glad that his amazing energy translates and other people can feel it too. He definitely gives us a lot more sleep than I think the average parents to newborns get, because he will let us sleep for about 3 hours in the middle. Like he goes to bed around 10:30, 11. But he naps throughout the day, and he'll go to bed around 10:30, 11, and then he'll sleep for 3 hours, wake up and feed for about 10 minutes, and then he'll go back to sleep for another 3 hours and wake up and feed for 10 minutes, and then 2 hours, and then 1 hour, and then we're back. And he's like, I said get up, everybody. So we are getting quite a bit of sleep. It took a second to kind of find my mommy feet, but I feel like I'm in it. I feel good. I got energy back, which is great. So, and he's just chill. He's super chill. I mean, we meditated for 9 months in the womb together. He's a chill baby. Do I keep a journal? Of course. It's harder now to keep a journal because my hands are more full, so I don't have time to describe like I used to, but I definitely keep a journal, and I love keeping a journal. I love writing affirmations. I love, writing my reality out before my eyes and giving thanks. And I especially love gratitude journals. I love just sitting down and being like, thank you so much for this, and thank you so much for that, and thank you so much for, because I just think to have a point of focus really helps. And so I just love to write down positive aspects. One thing that I like to do is convince myself of something. Like we can talk ourselves out of stuff. And a lot of times I use journaling to help talk myself into something of just like, well, why could it work out for you? You're like, well, I'm talented. I've been working really hard. I have a great career already. I have, wonderful credits on my resume, and it wouldn't be the strangest thing in the world for me to get the part. And this is if I'm talking, I've auditioned for something that I'm like, oh my God, could I get it? But, seeing the first, Black female Madam Vice President, look at me, President, 2024, seeing the first Black female vice president makes you just go, right, nothing is out of our reach. And, she is the first, but she will not be the last. And those kind of things are very affirming to me to remind myself of. And I like to put that all in a journal just so I can see it. And why do you think Billie lied to Dean about the box being the only solution for Michael's problem? Because she needed to buy time. I think she knows a lot more than she always gives the boys information on. I don't think she'll ever, well, now she can't, but I don't think she's ever been somebody to give any more information than is needed. I think she is always going to hold her cards close because she can. And what mystical animal do you resonate with? I often joke that trees are my spirit animal because I love to be out in nature. That's not to say that I am a camping kind of person, but I do love to just go for hikes and be in nature and be around trees. I always need to be able to see trees from my window, if like wherever I'm living or staying, because I really do feel like they speak to me, especially around fall. Like I just remember looking outside my window and having a whole conversation with the trees out front, just being like, do you see how beautiful we are when we change colors and leaves fall off and it looks like we're dead, but we're not really dead. We're still here. And everybody has different seasons. And even in the same season, even when we're all even seemingly in the same season, my trees fall off at a different pace than their tree, than that tree, and that tree never loses any leaves, and that tree, and then I just get wrapped up in a whole conversation, or the wind will blow in such a way that all of a sudden I just hear whispers in the trees. And so, yeah, I often joke that trees are my spirit animal. And will you ever perform "Oh Death" at one of the conventions? Hmm. Oh, death, oh, death, won't you spare me over another year? But what is this that I can't see with ice cold hands taking hold on me? Maybe. um, I got the latest TV Guide issue and was so sad Billie was left off the cover. How would you like to see her? How would you like to see her on the cover? There. I'm kidding. I thought that was really cool. And, to those of you who really resonate with my character, I'm so incredibly grateful. At the same time, I also feel like I'm such a small part of such a big show that I just was like, that makes sense. I love those characters too. So it was really nice to see, and I love seeing my friends on cool stuff. So I thought that was really cool. But thanks for missing me. Looking forward to your life coaching class. Do you think that will be a continuous path for you? It absolutely is a continuous path for me. I have been life coaching for a very, very, very long time, and it's taken me so long to really become public about it because when you're seen as one thing, it's really hard for other people to see you as another. So I really kept it private, and you kind of had to know that I did it to get in on it with me. And then my friends were like, you really need to share this with other people. And so I created a course, and it's called Breathe, a lifestyle course. And it's called that because it's really meant to work with you as you go through life. And it's just like, the power of now. You're meant to come back to it again and again and again, and let the messages and the lessons really descend and bake in your spirit so that you're able to get deeper and deeper understanding and awareness within yourself. And ultimately, it's to help people really learn how to physically feel when they have spiritually grown, because a lot of people don't know that they are different people, and or the contrast that comes with that, or how our breath can be so incredibly powerful. And the course Breathe is an acronym for belief, rest, energy, awareness, truth, healing, and expansion. And all of it really ties in from one to the other and to the next, and it gives you an accumulative effect, so that by the time you get to expansion, you're just like, but we got to go through it together, And so it's going to be it's my baby for sure, my second baby. But I was really motivated to make it because when I was pregnant when I made it, and I was really motivated to make it because being pregnant during a pandemic made me really ask the question, okay, Lisa, who do you want this kid to meet when he gets here? Do you want him to meet the person who panicked the entire way, or the person who really, went deeper into their spiritual practice? And so, talking to the question that somebody asked earlier, where it's like, does playing death make you think a little bit more about life? It absolutely does, because I actually talk to myself about death all the time, because I'm aware that we do not get forever in this body at this time. And I, not to sound cryptic, but I had a conversation with my husband, and I was just like, if I don't get to see him grow into a ripe old man, I want him to have everything I would have taught him. And so I was really jazzed to make sure that I got it in case I wasn't around, for him to learn the lessons that I would have taught him when he was old enough to learn them, you know. And so he was a part of all of that. So I think he instinctually knows what I would have taught him anyways. But by the time he's 5, he'll be able to take this course because it's for everybody. You know, it's like parents take it and they're able to use it to teach their kids how to breathe through uncomfortable situations and how they can learn to really shift the energy in their body so that they can have a better life experience. So I'm really excited to launch that, and everybody's, you know, anticipation around it has been so heartwarming. So thank you. And what's your niche subject you can always talk about? Breathing. I can always talk about breathing. I can always talk about meditation, because it's such a huge part of my life. So I've got processes upon processes, you know, and practices upon practices. Just the other day, I was talking to a friend of mine who was like, you know, I mean, things feel tight financially, and I just don't know how to kind of get my head around it. And I was like, oh, I'd love to use my imagination. And we were just talking about the fact that, you know, a couple of years ago, I was in the same situation, and I was like, you know, I'm going to just pretend like I am a master at manifesting money, and and use what I know. And so I was like, I'm going to pretend I'm a teacher. And so I just put myself in the position of being a teacher. And I was like, all right, class, it's in session. And I used to teach the I hit rock bottom classes. I no longer teach those because now I've learned that you don't have to hit rock bottom to turn the ship around. So I teach the I've noticed that I am sitting in lack more than gratitude and abundance. So I have made myself nice and broke just like you, and I'm going to show you how we manifest. And I would, you know, sit and go through everything in this proverbial class in my head where I was like, okay, so the first thing we want to talk about today is gratitude. Because what it really means is you have been focusing on what you don't have. You've been focusing on lack. And we want to shift that and start focusing on what you do have and on abundance. And so all day today, I want you to just focus on everything that you're grateful for. And when the thoughts of money come up and when you're like, I don't have enough and how am I gonna, I want you to just tell yourself, I do not need to think about that right now. My focus is on appreciating what I do have, and it will be enough. So if I don't have it, I don't need it. And then I would do this, you know, for 30 days. And then lo and behold, all of a sudden you're like, money flows in, work picks up and all of this stuff. And then we're back in flow. And so she started doing it and she's like, oh my God, it totally worked. And I was like, I know, wait till you find 20 bucks on the ground, just sitting there. And you go, wow, that's some real evidence that, you know, somebody is hearing me. So yes, I can always talk about mindfulness. What item would you like to have kept from the show set? I wanted to keep my costume, but then I got pregnant and then we had to blow it out. And so I didn't get to keep it, but I wanted to keep everything. I wanted to keep my Billie costume. I wanted to keep my death costume, but then we had to change it all up because I got preggers. Yeah. And or I'd take the car, but that's not really an option, and not really good for the environment, truth be told. So just let's see. Okay, and those are our questions. I was like, oh, that's a lot of really great questions. Thank guys. That's some really cool stuff. It's always so surreal to, you know, have these one-sided conversations, but I know you're there. And I just want to say, I love you so much. Thank you for the love and support and all the amazing comments that you guys have shared with me. It has truly, truly touched my heart. So from my heart to your heart, thank you. I love you. I appreciate you, and be well. When God is gone.
Thank you so much, Lisa, from the bottom of my heart. We really appreciate you being with us. Thank you. We all send our love and support to you always and wish you all happiness as much as you give us. All right, guys, tipping is now done, and we're going to bring you the results in just a few moments. But first, make sure you're signed up on our email list through our website, creationent.com, and follow us at Creation ENT on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for announcements. We're going to send out an announcement tomorrow, so with a lot more content to come. So make sure you check it out. And our winner is Emma Eve. Emma Eve, you are the winner of our 5-minute meet and greet with Lisa that's coming up. So make sure that your email address is attached to your top supporter rewards, and we're going to send you your link coming up. All right, we're going to be back in just a few with Julian Richings.